Hey Izzy, it's so great to see you again. We last spoke on September 15th of last year, the day after your eviction and your exit interview. So how has life been for you since leaving the Big Brother house?
Oh, I mean, I now that a new season of Big Brother has started, I feel like the most normal I've ever felt, like I've felt since that date. But it's been good. I mean, I've just been trying to get back to work and life and for a while it felt like nothing in my life was as exciting as getting to play Big Brother and be a part of the season last year. And so that was like a little bit of a struggle, but now I've got some new jobs coming up that I'm extremely excited about. And yeah, being engaged is fun. And so yeah, so I'm enjoying being home now these days and watching BB26. So
The past year has flown by, but what's been the most challenging part of transitioning back to normal life after Big Brother?
I get yeah, I mean, I guess it's like part yeah, it's like part of that Big Brother was like more exciting and like unique than any other experience that I've had to date. Yeah, I guess like the hardest part is also like has been like a revolutionary part for me in my thinking, which is like in some ways it snapped me into reality. Like I'm less stressed about every little tiny thing because I had this amazing adventure. And so now it's like, I can do life. That doesn't mean I'm not like an anxious mess all the time, but I like view going throughout the day a little bit differently. But definitely like just needing to touch grass all the time has been the hardest thing, like not letting my mind wander back into fantasy or like the fake reality that, the house is. So that's been hard. Yeah.
So you unfortunately weren't able to attend Oz's premiere party in New York City, but I did see you at Bryce and Wendell's Survivor 46 finale party back in May. So how are you enjoying these events?
Oh yeah, I mean the events are fun. Like I was never like as a fan, I was never like embedded in the community in that way. So I feel like the party scene, the watch party stuff is like new to me. And as much as like, yeah, I guess I would describe myself as an extrovert. I can get kind of overwhelmed with those things. I'm not like a bar party person. So they're a lot, but it's like amazing getting to meet so many fans and like hear how people were affected by my presence, by my game. And it's really validating, because like being a pre-jury, like feeling like I left the game super early, and I had the energy to go all 100 days, and so feeling like it was cut short, it is like really validating and rewarding hearing so many people enjoying how I played and wanting to tell me. And yeah, so I enjoy it.
Did you ever go to any of these events prior to being on Big Brother or no?
No, I like maybe didn't even know they existed. Like my fandom for me was like very much only in my home. So yeah.
So who were some people that you met at the 46 finale party that you were excited to meet?
I guess you mean like other players. Like I guess
Yeah,
you mean like
yeah,
other players. Um
yeah.
I I don't know. I guess people from 46. Is that horrible? I don't know. I'm excited to meet everyone. Like I feel maybe that's like a cop out of an answer. I feel like up until like when the 46 premiere party happened, I had already been in a lot of season 45 events and stuff like that and felt like I kind of had my lay of the land of like meeting people that, alum that come to these parties and stuff. And so I guess actually like less than being excited in a fan way, I was like more excited that like now it really feels like a group of friends that I'm just like hanging out with and we have this like weird common interest that's incredibly public. So yeah,
So let's transition to Big Brother 26. So who are
great.
your early favorite house guests this season?
Um, I guess, I'm not like a big preseason person because I don't think it means anything. And it's like only judging people like a book by its cover and not actually reading anything. Especially as someone that received, I will say this forever and ever, especially as someone that received a lot of really illegitimate, intense preseason hate, and lies being spread on Twitter about me. So like, fuck preseason, sorry. So, but like immediately when the game started, I guess I was like immediately drawn to chemo, being like, I think now I bite my tongue if I'm wrong about this, but I think is the only queer cast member on this season. And so I was immediately drawn to him. I liked his demeanor. I liked how calm he was. I thought Joseph maybe was interesting. Big fan of T-Core in the beginning. And I liked how Chelsea came into the house, like kind of strong socially. So I would say those are probably my early favorites. Things have changed, obviously. I mean, it's like week to week. So yeah.
Talking about that preseason hate, I recently spoke with Turner, and if you remember the Big Brother 24 preseason, he was one that got a lot of hate preseason. Now we all love Turner. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it just makes like extra, like, it's kind of ridiculous that we do it. Anyway, that's all. I won't keep, I know people love it, so I'll stop. But like, don't be mean. Like, you don't know these people yet. Anyway.
so let's talk about Angela, Facebook's least favorite house guest. What are your thoughts on Angela?
First of all, I will always stand Facebook's least favorite house guest, being one herself. So I think like Angela, as I kick my computer, I don't know, my overall take of BB26, and I think Angela is like a great, in some ways, representation of this, is like, I think that BB26 is maybe like the Big Brother equivalent of Survivor 46, which is like great TV, great personalities, little bit too much main character syndrome going on in everyone's head, but like not a lot of like Big Brother as sport or Survivor as sport like going on in the game. And so but I think Angela, I don't know, I have this conspiracy theory that it's like all been an act, that she knows exactly what she's doing, and she like wanted to cause a ruckus in the beginning to be seen as like someone that you don't have to worry about, and now she can lay low, and she really has like, I mean, she's like a mess, you know what I mean? Like she's a total mess. I think like this environment, I think a lot of them are experiencing not really understanding what this environment was going to be like really living in. And so I think she's like, really been affected by that. But I think she's actually sitting kind of in a good position in the house. And I like, no matter what, whether it's irrational or not, I am a fan of active players, people that are trying, people that are messy, people that are just like not wasting their time in the house, just being dragged by everyone else working their ass off. So I'm a fan of Angela just like putting her foot on the gas, you know? Yeah.
About everything she's doing being planned. What did you think of everyone saying that she was a production plant?
I mean, I think that's like very funny. I mean, like I mean, I guess I also bite my tongue when I say this as someone that hopes to play a game again, But like she's been on like a bunch of shows. She was on Dr. Phil. I don't trust anyone that's on Dr. Phil. So I totally like that goes for you too, Brooklyn. Like I think that maybe production plant is like a little far, but I think like she was like, oh, I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to be irrational, and I'm going to be messy. She just sees, she's maybe worse than me and Sari with the HOH remote, because like she just like sees people existing close to each other in the same area, and she's convinced they have a whole new alliance that's out to get her. So it's like, yeah, she's just like making up stuff in her head. So I think like production probably loves her. I mean, she's great TV. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a funny, a funny thought.
At first, I was kind of subscribing to the theory that she could be a production plant because the America's veto twist, when America can vote for who goes on the block, I'm like, oh, that's definitely how she's going to go out of the game. So that's my original thought.
Oh, interesting. I see. So you were convinced that like Angela was going to be the replacement nom, and then she would
Yeah,
like that would be a logical. Yeah.
yeah. When that twist was announced, I'm like, oh, that's definitely how she's going to go. And America put her up. So
Right. I know. Yeah, but she's been getting kind of like, I mean, I think that weird interim episode, like catch-up episode with Jag, Taylor, and Cody, I feel like that like in some ways was trying to like stop Facebook from like getting on Angela, from really like so dummy describing both perspectives and sides of the argument and like early disputes and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, she's a character, she's great, she's definitely on my top list of favorite house guests now for sure.
you mentioned comparing the season to Survivor 46. Did you see a thread on Twitter the other day where it was comparing a different house guest to a Survivor 46 person? Did you see that?
I didn't see it myself, but actually Paige, my fiance, did see it, and she told me about some of them because yeah. So I heard about some of it, but I mean, please enlighten me.
I think it was like Q is Tucker and Chemo
Yeah.
is like Kenzie, and that's all I remember. But
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Q Tucker is a good comparison.
So what about Tucker? What are your thoughts on him and his gameplay since he's the New York rep on this season? What do you think of Tucker?
He's the New York rep, you know. It's like I just he's obviously he's extremely good at competitions. Like that's like it. You know, like that is the extent of his game for the most part. He's like I think he's missing the piece where like let me try and phrase this in a way. It's like he can envision what moves would be. And he's like, oh, well, that would be fun. Or, oh, well, that would take care of that problem. So let's just do it. And he doesn't actually think of like the repercussions that snowball after any given set of decisions that you make. And it's like ultimately he's like a selfish player because he's like, well, it doesn't matter because if I just go on the block, I'll just win everything and then it's fine and then I'll be safe, you know? And I don't like that attitude so much. He's like got that like, now that he's HOH, it's sort of like you can see him going in and out of being like wanting to talk game with the people that are trying to like, hey, so what's going on, you know? Very reactionary instead of planning. You know, I was a big planner when I played, you know, like I just like to be mentally ready for any scenario. And he's very much like, well, let's just wait to see who wins the veto and then we can discuss it, you know, and that's not my, it's like, well, what else are you doing? Like, what else are you doing in this house that you can't talk about, you know, like actually gaming? And so I think he's forgetting, obviously, the like socially strategic aspect of the game. So it's like annoying to me. You know, I'm not a fan of showmances. It's like, this isn't Love Island. So it's like, you know, it's fine. It's fine. He's fine. He's good TV, I guess, but only if you like competitions. Other than that, it's like, he's just a big, like sort of ego bot, you know? Yeah.
A comparison I have for him, and you watch Big Brother Canada, right?
I actually have not. I
Oh,
don't go to get it. I'm not a VPN person. I hate the computer. I'm not like an online person. So I have trouble with anyway, I have not. Sorry, Kevin. I want to see it. I've seen clips and read things about it. But yeah,
well,
I hear
I
amazing
was
things.
going to make my comparison to the winner of season Big Brother Canada 11, Ty, that he
Okay.
was not good at the game socially. He just won every single competition, and that's all he basically did. So I was going to compare him to
I
Ty.
see. Yeah. I mean, that would be the game, but I would never give him my
Yeah.
vote at the end. You know what I mean? Maybe I shouldn't say that since I play, but you know, that just,
We'll
yeah.
talk about that later with Jag.
Yeah, exactly. Jag can talk about competitions and, you know, he won't talk about anything else. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what about Cedric? What are your thoughts on him and his blind side the other night?
I, I mean, I see a lot of Twitter comparing my eviction to Cedric's eviction. So I have a soft spot in my heart for his situation, you know, but he volunteered, you know, I mean, like he doesn't, I, I wasn't, I hadn't been like a huge fan of Big Brother before I like thought about playing, but it's mostly like I wanted to play these games. But there was no world in which I wasn't going to try and at least see as many seasons as I could, as many times as I could, and just understand what the vibe is. So I just like casting process is long as hell. So if people haven't even seen an entire season of the game, that's very frustrating to me. Like you wouldn't expect LeBron James to walk on the court and never like an all year never shot a basketball on the off season or something. You know, like that wouldn't happen. And so to me, it's like he's just like a sweet, beautiful young baby child. And I wish he was cast 10 years from now. Like that's my, I mean, that's often my, I think like he was easily manipulated and easily used, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. And I felt for him because he was so like earnest, you know, like he was always himself and he was so charming. I hope he gets a second chance because I think he had like a lot of good instincts, but didn't really understand how to put them into play, you know?
Yeah, and he said in his exit interviews that he hadn't watched a full season of Big Brother yet, and it seems like a theme this season that people were volunteering for the block. So I think he was influenced by other people who'd previously volunteered for the block and think, oh, this is okay, I can just do it.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think in some ways, like, I don't know, I go back and forth whether or not it like not using the veto on yourself or volunteering to go on the block is like are just unspoken rules, but maybe situationally it's smart, you know? And I think like I appreciate from this season the willingness to like try those things, but I think like Cedric didn't have a complete understanding of the reality of what he was doing. I don't think he was doing that. I think he was, caught up in it. He wanted to be like a big alpha man. And so he wanted to like match Tucker's freak. And like ultimately, he really got. And I think the flip and the voting him out was very, very smart. I loved that move. I would have been in on that move. I loved it. So sucks for Cedric, but I think in terms of the game, I respect it.
What did you think of the rule change that production made apparently on Wednesday night that they informed the Houseguest that Quinn couldn't vote? What did you think of that?
I don't like that. I mean, I wish that HOHs always had to vote. Like, I don't like that HOH is only breaking the tie. Like, I want people to be voting all the time. I think that is like truly the only real tangible currency you have. Everything else is just like lip service until you actually vote and like put up or shut up, So I was pretty bummed about that, for sure. I mean, I think ultimately I think he should have been forced not to reveal it. Like, I think it should have been part of it that he wasn't allowed to ever say it, because really, like, in some ways it doesn't like even matter because just it was like ruined, So
you think Quinn and Angela both should have been able to vote?
No, I think Angela, unfortunately, I think like, unfortunately, like his power also came with doling out a punishment, I mean, I was pretty convinced. I really think that Quinn should have won HOH because then they knew for sure he couldn't vote, but everyone else could vote and he couldn't play in the next HOH. I mean, he came in second to Tucker. You know what I mean? Like, he could have won HOH. So I think there was like a fumble from the house in that regard. But also, I don't know. I don't know. It's all a mess.
Were you up until 1 in the morning watching the endurance competition on the feeds?
No, I wasn't. I don't care that much about competitions, but I've seen a lot of clips from it.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw on Twitter that I was watching it, and once it got down to Tucker and Quinn, they cut the feeds, so we didn't even see the end of it. So me thinking, I'm like, oh, they're probably pushing Quinn off the wall right now.
Pushing him. I think I guess they were talking about it that like Quinn didn't take a deal from Tucker, which like, I just think Quinn has made like every mistake that you can make like in a row, like from the beginning of him walking into the house in some ways, and so like, I would take any deal anyone would give me. You don't have to honor it. Like, when was Quinn honoring anything in the house, So I think it was like I don't know. It's like a funny thing for him, given the position that he's in, which is like really at the bottom of the house,
And I think Tucker realized this about Quinn, that he's not that good. So that's why Quinn wasn't his original target for this week.
I mean, Quinn's like a sitting duck, but the problem is he's just so loose-lipped that you either have to only lie to him or like not tell him anything ever,
Does anyone on this cast remind you of yourself or anyone else from your season?
I mean, the reality is like not really, because I just think like everyone that ever plays is like so incredibly unique. I mean, I thought T-Core was maybe like having a little bit of the Mimi thing where it's like, you do have good ideas. You don't ever follow through. You don't understand that having ideas doesn't mean that you've communicated them to anyone else. So why would anyone else know that you have good ideas? But I think like T-Core, was obviously part of being instrumental in the flip. And so that made me really happy. I think, I don't know. Cameron's kind of like Bowie Jane or something, like Cam's not doing anything. He's just like he doesn't even want to hear game, which was Bowie's thing. Bowie's like, well, don't tell me anything because then I won't know anything and then I won't be lying or being mad, like pissing anyone off, It's like Cam's not loud about it, but that is how he is maneuvering through the house. I mean, unfortunately, I guess I have a little bit of Tucker in me, you know what I mean? Like, we're both loud and opinionated and blah, 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 I don't know, not really, there's no lesbians, so I would have picked the lesbian.
You just needed the competition wins. That was it.
I did. Alas, they'll never come.
So Mimi just needed a chemo in the house to go through with her ideas, you're saying?
Sure, I guess so. I mean, I was trying to be Mimi's chemo, but she didn't want to tell me anything. She didn't want to. Anyway, whatever. I don't actually want to rehash BB25. So, yeah.
So the house guests were given the option to vote in the 17th house guest on premiere night. Would you have voted for Ansley to come into the game?
I mean, it's like funny because I guess probably in the moment I would have voted her in because it would have been very obvious. I think it was very obvious that like this was like a ploy, but no, in my heart of hearts, it's like, why would I don't like that it set a precedent of being rewarded for the incorrect strategic move. The right strategic thing is no, we're trying to get people out of this house so I can be the last one here. So why would I vote someone in? But I think like the absurdity of it means obviously a positive thing would come from voting her in. But I thought that was a lame test for the house guests.
Prior to the episode, did you think that the 17th house guest was going to be a real person? I thought it was going to be just like Surya last year, that it was, someone like her was going to be the 17th.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I didn't give it much thought because speculation to me is just like a little bit annoying because like, why would I get my hopes up for something? And then it's like, obviously, I don't know what it is. I didn't think too much of it. I did love the tweet that it was going to be Jujubee, and I was very excited for that potential. But no, I think ultimately I thought it was going to be something AI related, whether or not it was like on the circle, like how they had the AI twist on the circle, something like that or something. But I mean, this season is very much like Too Hot to Handle. So maybe it was Lana. Maybe Lana was going to be the 17th house guest.
So speaking of Ainsley, what do you think of the AI theme this season and the AI arena?
The AI theme is fine. I'm not a fan of, listen, I'm a live musician, AI is not necessarily my friend. But I think the theme is fine. Listen, AI arena is fun, but I'm just never going to advocate for a twist that ultimately favors people that can win competitions. I am in favor of the fact that the competitions have been extremely equitable thus far, which I'm incredibly jealous of. Maybe I would feel differently about competitions if I was playing some of them this season. I think the competitions are cool, but strategically speaking, I already think so much power comes from winning comps that I ultimately don't like that there's an extra power that can save someone.
And so prior to your season, the last 9 seasons had juries starting at the final 11, whereas your season started the final 9. Do you think this season's jury will be a 7 or 9 person jury? And do you know why your season it changed?
No, I have no idea. Was that like, do you know? Are you going to tell me?
Well, my understanding was that because the season was so long that CBS was trying to save rent money on the jury house. That was my understanding.
Okay, I mean, I am not going to speak to Ultimate Production like that because I do wish to play again. But I thought it was like, obviously I thought it was kind of lame. I mean, I guess I still wouldn't have made if Jag hadn't been saved. Jag was evicted. I'll say it once again, also unanimously. That's fine. But if he wasn't evicted, I probably would have made, like then the numbers the old way. But I don't know. I mean, I think more people on the jury is great, so I hope they get a 9 person, 11 person, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
so if you were on this season, who would you align with, and who do you think would anyone on this cast be your Suri?
Well, no one can be my Suri because I think like our relationship is unique, and I just like view every relationship really differently from the next. But it's like hard to tell after playing. It's like really hard to tell who you're going to vibe with, even if you think you will. I mean, I think actually like probably me and Joseph would have been like the me and Corey. Like I actually think Joseph would have been how me and Corey related to each other. Like really wanting to like talk about scenarios and numbers and game and strategize and you know, I guess in some ways like maneuver in different sides of the house. I could see that for me and Joseph. I think probably I would have a lot of fun with Tucker, actually. You know what I mean? Like, I think I would have fun with Tucker, and I think I would like T-Core and Chemo. You know, I think those would probably most likely be my people. But that's just, it's just like so hard to tell, because if you showed me my cast before I walked into the house, I probably wouldn't have picked the people, you know, like who knows who I would have picked that I thought I would be friends with.
What about Quinn? He's kind of in the same realm as Joseph, that, super fans, and you guys know what you're talking about. What about Quinn?
I actually don't think Quinn knows what he's talking about almost ever. Like, I mean, Quinn is living, it's like, I like Quinn. I'm not, I think Quinn is a good guy. I appreciate a super fan, but I think he's like missing the point where the reason all the moves or the people he's obsessed with like became iconic or whatever, or because they were actually being present in their season and thinking about how to play the game on their season, and then making moves or doing funny things that like feel amazing to us as viewers, and he's like not doing that. He's trying to recreate things that happened organically on other seasons instead of being really present and like fine. He's a cool person. Like, he's a cool, weird person. And I would like to see more of him instead of him growing a mustache and trying to, be someone that he isn't. I'm always going to be an advocate for people just trusting that they are enough in any given situation. And I wish Quinn felt that and was playing like that, because I think his idea of, I was thinking about this the other night, that I think Quinn is like the type of fan that watches people make decisions, has a lot of opinions about the decisions that people make, and has never actually been in a position to make a series of difficult decisions right after the other. And so actually, no, like, just because you have opinions about what people are doing doesn't mean you're the best player in the house. You are literally the worst. You are worse than Angela. You are playing worse than Angela, because at least Angela knows that she messed up and that she was wild and is trying to like be flexible. And Quinn's just continuing to be like, Tucker says I'm amazing, and talking to the cans, being like, I'm so good at this. Why am I doing so bad? Maybe you should like touch grass, Quinn, like maybe you should actually enter the BB26 house instead of mine, So yeah. So I feel for Quinn. It's like, it's frustrating,
I'm sure you've heard about this, but what do you think of Quinn's fixation on doing a deep dive with Taryn after the season?
I mean, like, once again, like, I mean, are you, first, I mean, I think it's ridiculous. Like, play the game, like, play the game. Yeah. Just be present playing your game. I don't think I think it's kind of like absurd to be thinking about that right now.
So who do you think is playing the best game right now?
Um, damn, I do think I think that's a hard question at this point in the game. Oh man, none of them. No, I don't know. I Even though it's like, I think the tides have turned up until the flip, where I think like Brooklyn's true colors really came out, and I'm not loving how she handled the flip. I was going to say, I really thought Brooklyn had like a very clear vision and was like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to be very like bipartisan about it. I thought Brooklyn was really in a good place. It's like, and it's like, I was hoping that T-Core and Chemo were going to like that this flip was going to like send them into, like feeling confident that they can make moves. But I haven't loved, especially how T-Core has acted after the flip and HOH, sort of like just constantly apologizing and sort of hiding again. And so, that makes me frustrated. So yeah, I guess maybe Joseph is currently who I think is playing the best game. He's done like a really interesting job of like recognizing where the power is and like make sure he's in the room when like, conversations are happening. But ultimately, like every week, whoever like the target is, he seems to like kind of buddy up with that, like he became friends with Quinn at an odd time when Quinn was really down. And I think that's helped him just like sort of maneuver through the house socially in a really graceful way that other people haven't exhibited yet, or won't ever. So let's go with Joseph. Let's say Joseph. Joseph for AI instigator.
So what's been the biggest surprise for you watching this new season?
Not having any lesbians.
Did they
I have
cast
like, I
many
like
before
really
you?
say that again.
Did they cast many before you?
Well, that's like exactly my point. That's so funny. I mean, like, no, I mean, I think that is a hole in casting diversity. And it's not helping chemo. And it's yeah, I think it's unfair. And I think that I know that's not the type of answer you wanted, but I think I'm not really shocked by the or anything else. I think like, yeah, I was pretty disappointed by that and shocked, so.
But I definitely do agree with you. It was surprising that chemo was the only one.
Yeah, it's just, it's a little sad to me. It's very binary this season in a lot of ways. And that to me is not my vibe. So that to me was shocking, but it's none of the players' faults, so.
So is there anything else, BB26, you want to talk about before we talk about you and your season a little bit?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm just like excited. I mean, I have like 1,000, it's because I have like a million things to say. I'm having a really fun time watching the season. This is my first season actually getting to watch it live. And I love the live feed. I mean, I guess obviously, but I mean, like, I really, really love the live feeds. I think the show is in the live feeds and it's so special and unique. And so I just want to like say that I'm having the absolute best time feeling like I'm in the house in some way and just like watching everything and getting to consume it in that way. So in that way, BB26 will like always have a special place in my heart, honestly, as being like my first season, other than playing, to like really experience it as a fan.
Have you went back and watched your season, like the episodes you were in?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've watched every episode of my season, and when I got evicted, I watched the live. I guess in that way you could say BB25 was my first live feeds, but nothing was really happening on the live feeds when I got home, and so I was pretty confused.
You were the live feeds.
Yeah. So thank you. But yeah, so and I've gone back and watched tons of footage and clips and of my time in the house and after. So yeah.
Is there anything that you wish you would have done differently on your season?
Not underestimated that a 22-year-old was, of course, gonna choose his like the girl he was making out with over anything else in the game. I mean, that really truly is my one regret, because I don't regret my actions. It's like, it's hard in there. People have to be able to vent and get things off their chest and move on and find ways of, dealing with the constant, it's constant. And I really view the game like as constant, that every action you make, matters. And so I recognize my mistakes, and, me and Corey had really built up a relationship where we could be honest. I let him be honest about his frustrations with Suri. And so I felt like that grace was given to me as well. But I think I really underestimated the fact that, like, they're humping. And so obviously, that's like more important than anything else, So I would say that read, is like my one bad read, and it hurts because, he's still a good friend of mine. I love Corey. So, yeah.
I want to talk about Jag as the winner. How do you feel about the winner of your season being evicted before you?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I made sure that he was a unanimous eviction. So I actually, I'm not a fan of Battlebacks or Redemption Island or like, like any of those. I think it is like totally against like the whole mission thesis statement of these games. And so yeah, I mean, I think it sucks. I'm not, I don't really want to like trash on anyone, but no, I mean, I'm pretty bummed with how the season turned out. I mean, I was pretty bummed with the final 3, so yeah, I don't know how I would have, if I was on the jury. I honestly don't know. I would have abstained. I don't know how I would have voted.
Well, that was my next question of who do you think that you would have voted for?
I mean, yeah, I mean, probably Matt, because I value a social game. And even though, like, I don't think Matt really understood everything socially, he did have the house fooled. Not really not to give myself flowers, but I was never really that fooled by Matt, but I could see that everyone was like drooling over him, like, and so probably Matt, because I value neither one of their final speeches was good. So nothing, you're not learning anything from the final speeches. That was trash. So it's like, you just have to remember what your experiences were. So probably Matt, even though it gives me the ick to say that. No one. I would have voted for no one. Bowie Jane.
Yeah, I agree with you. I maintain I think Matt definitely played the better game, but looking back, I'm happy that Jag was the one that won. But I would have in no circumstance voted for someone who was evicted from the game. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it. I agree. I totally agree. So yeah. And as opposed to like my eviction, I actually think the fact that he was saved was the thing that flipped the whole season on its head. So yeah.
So how has your perception of the game changed now that you're a viewer rather than a player?
I think, you know, thinking about my experience, like I see a lot of tweets a lot of times being like, oh my God, only if America and Izzy teamed up and worked together. And it's like, I worked my ass off. Everyone knew I worked my ass off to work with America. Like I tried. She didn't want that. There was something that we like didn't click. And so like the thing that I try to not judge now when I'm watching the game is the fact that we as fans can't understand what isn't clicking socially between people or what just is like ships passing in the night. Like it is not, Big Brother is played not by inanimate chess pieces, but by humans, and so the human element is so strong always. And you just sometimes, even if it logically makes sense, who should team up or who should do what, humans don't always work that way. And so I think I try to give grace when sort of like having my opinions about like what seems so obvious, like get up off of that bed and go talk to her. I don't know why you're not doing that, but it's like, who knows what the dynamic is really, we watch a lot on the feeds, but you can't help, you can't understand what they're feeling unless you are there with those people. So I think I try to think about that a little bit more than I did before I played, because that was definitely an issue for me, for sure.
But you and America are cool now, right?
Oh yeah, I have nothing bad to say about America. I just, that was just in terms of the game. It was like I so desperately wanted us to align and she so desperately wanted to align with no one. So like there, I can't do anything with that. So
who have you kept in touch with from your season, and are you still very close with Suri and Jared?
Yeah, I'm super close with Suri. We talk all the time and see each other and hang out and stuff, and that's great. And Jared moved to LA, but yeah, I was seeing him before he left. And me and Corey keep in touch, and Mimi and Blue. And yeah, I would say, me and Riley have become better friends out of the house than we were in the house. And so that's cool. Not that many though. I mean, that's not supposed to be, yeah, I don't really care. So that's,
And I like to ask people the other end of that question. Who on your cast would you not get lunch with?
I mean, like like everyone that I didn't name. No, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, if you want to, if you want me to relive my quote, like, yeah, I mean, I hope I never see Cameron again. That's kind of, I didn't click with Red, but I mean, like we all know the basic thing. Most people, I don't want to have lunch with any of them.
Speaking of Cameron, have you seen this Big Brother post game cruise that Cameron and Janelle and all of them are going on?
I have.
What do you think of that cruise?
He's a single dad. He's got to make some money.
I think that people would be more interested in going if he wasn't on it, but
yeah, but tell that to the powers that be.
But I guess that's the people that Janelle chooses to be friends with, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, tell that to the conservatives that play this game.
So I take that you don't love Janelle.
No, I mean, I don't know Janelle. Yeah, I can make opinions about that. But look, I'm not gonna. I'm trying. I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to say. So
I was asking because Janelle personally has me blocked. So
I see. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like we don't have any interaction. I bet Janelle doesn't even know who I am. I wasn't in the edit, so I bet she has no idea.
And I've actually met her twice too. So,
Mm.
so how do you think that Big Brother 25 would go if you ran it back right now? If they put the 16 of you in the house right now, how do you think the season would go?
I mean, have we already played BB25 and we're doing it again?
Yeah, they're putting the 16 of you back in the house again right now. How do you think it would go?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly, it would depend on if we had equitable comps or not. You know, I would love to redo my perfect boot order. That's what I would love.
And would you still have the same alliance of like Suri, Jared, Felicia, Mimi? You work with the same people?
These things, the hypotheticals are so they. I don't want to say they're meaningless, but they just like you have no idea. I mean, yeah, probably obviously me and Suri have continued our relationship outside of the house. And so I couldn't imagine not, I mean, we're going to be friends in the house if we were there. So I can't imagine we wouldn't work together. I would hope me and Corey had a better redo. People on the internet could say I was an idiot about that, but no, I think like me and Corey deserve a redo playing the game together, hopefully. Yeah. So I don't know. It would depend on how everyone really socially lied. I think my cast really made alliances out of like who they were friends with instead of, maybe what made sense at any given time. So I think that would matter.
Is there any other shows besides Big Brother that you'd be interested in doing? Have you been asked to do any other shows?
I have not been asked. I would love to be asked. I mean, I would love to play Survivor, of course. I don't think that's like a surprise to anyone. I mean, I would love, love, love a second chance at Big Brother. It's funny because like before I played Big Brother, I would say I was Survivor, ride or die. And like, I love these social strategy games. And so let me find out what Big Brother is all about. And I got into it that way. But probably even during the season, I would say that my heart belonged with Survivor. I don't feel that way anymore. I have so much I like find myself defending Big Brother at every turn. And I think it's the live feeds. I think the live feeds, the reality of being able to be in the house with people is so unique. And like, yeah, it just makes the game really special. And so yeah, I really want to play Big Brother. I mean, I would play all of them. They're fun, it's like fun and a chance to win money. I mean, I really wanted to win that money. Like that money would have really changed my life. And I think about it all the time. I think about that money, yeah, that I couldn't continue to compete for that money against people that didn't give a shit about it. And it really was like such a motivating factor. And I hate there's been this like, morality discussion on BB26. And it just bothers me because if someone ever came up to me and said, well, I don't care about the money. It's about the bitch. No, it's not. It's about the money. I didn't choose to be with you. I don't even like you. I want to win this money for my family. Like they're working so hard at home for me to like try and do this. So don't tell me you don't want the money. Screw you. Let's vote her out. Can we vote her out right now? So anyway, so yeah, so I would love a chance because I want to change my life and my family's. And I just love these games. It's like the Olympics to me. Big Brother is like the Olympics. It's like, yeah, it's sport. It's not summer house. It's like intense sports.
If you could play Big Brother again, besides Suri, what Survivor legend would you want to play with? And if you could play Survivor, what Big Brother legend would you want to play with?
um, well, this will be my point to give my spiel about legends. Legends are only made because production decided to invite certain people back. So I would love to play Big Brother with Brandon Donlin from Survivor 40. That's who I want to play Big Brother with. I'm not even kidding. I think we only make legends when you bring people back. And so I'm all about putting, in some ways, those old seasons behind and like, let's have new legends. Janelle and Dan are not the end all be all of Big Brother, So I don't know. I think Casey would be I would play with a comp beast Casey, because she would be my right kind of dynamic. And she won. And so I would for sure sit next to her final two because who would give her, no one's on Big Brother is gonna Sandra it.
What about Big Brother reindeer games? Would you do that especially with the competitions being more equitable on that?
Absolutely. I thought I almost called it baby reindeer. I thought Reindeer Games was awesome. I loved it. It was so much fun. Great boot order also. Wink, wink. I had a lot of fun watching. Yeah, watching. I wanted to do it again. That's so dark. Okay, yeah. Reindeer Games was great. Yeah, I would play.
Yeah, and I love that at the end it was all women, and I love the first episode. So yeah, I want to see it again. I want to see you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How has your personal life or your career been impacted by your time on Big Brother?
Nothing like publicly, like I'm not interested in being an influencer, which I know so many want to be on TV to be an influencer. So like in that way, it has not impacted my life whatsoever. Uh, but my personal life, it's like I it was like me and Paige, my fiance, were into these shows. None of my friends from before I played were into this at all. Like no one. So it was always like just the thing for me and her. And so I guess like personally, it's been nice to feel like I have a whole set of new friends that I can just like nerd out and talk strategy with and like debrief the season. And that's been really fun to like be a part of that kind of like social community. So I'd say that's probably like the biggest change and the biggest, positive change from the show.
What about getting more gigs, or you changed your Instagram handle I saw recently to BB Izzy makes art. What about like art or anything like that? Anything?
Oh, I mean, like, I guess, it all comes down to like, I could do more self-promotion. I mean, like,
Mhm.
the kind of like music that I make is not intentionally not accessible, but it's not like, I play a lot of experimental, wacky, potentially difficult to listen to music. And so I don't necessarily see the immediate sort of intersection of my, you know, reality TV stuff and that, even though I would love it. I've been wanting to change my handle for a while. I don't know. I guess being on the show has just made me realize that, like, being a classical flutist, we have like a very specific idea of what professional is and what things should look like. And I've never like fit that mold. Like, it's been always very hard for me to like fit into that or buy into it because I just think it's so impersonal and like stale, and like, so I think being on Big Brother and like has allowed me to feel like a little bit more free in the way that I present myself in terms of my art or my social media or things like that. And so yeah, I changed my handle because I like it better. And yeah, I'm a visual artist as well. I don't always promote all that stuff. It shows up a lot in like the music that I write. I like create a lot of graphic scores, text-based scores that people then interpret. But so yeah, so I see myself more as an artist than a flutist, so specific, more macro than micro. So
Do you have any advice for future house guests based on your experience?
trust your instincts. If you think like trust your instincts. If you think that you're not vibing in any way with like within a conversation or just with a person in general, I guarantee you're not. I guarantee they don't want to work with you. And like trust that. I think I should have maybe trusted that I could trust that in myself a little bit more. And also don't worry about what happened before you and don't worry about what the fans are thinking. You have no idea. You have no idea. If you're a future player and you're watching Quinn right now, you know that you have no idea what the fans are thinking or what your perception is. And so like the most important thing is just to be present. Your world now exists inside the Big Brother house and just commit to that. Commit. Yeah. That would be my
We
advice.
we put Quinn on the block, so
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't want that. Don't worry about other seasons. Worry about yourself.
at this point in the season, if you had to put your money down on a winner, who do you think the winner of the season will be?
Uh, I'm going Joseph. Let me stick with my Joseph pick. I'm going Joseph.
And do you have any upcoming projects or events that you'd like to share with your fans?
Um, no, not particularly.
And can you just share your Instagram or social media handles one more time?
Sure. Yeah, you could follow me on Instagram at @bbizzy_makes_art. And that is mostly like music and like personal stuff. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for reality TV stuff, you can follow me at Flute Dyke.
Can't change the handle on that one.
Never. No, that's forever and ever. That's
all right. Thank you so much for joining me, Izzy. It was a pleasure to catch up with you and get your thoughts on the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.